I came across an article from RADA, and it was about the passing of Sophie Partridge. When I read it, of course, I was shocked, surprised, and I thought, it can't be, because I was just talking to Sophie a few days ago. Some of you can see that picture and you think it's just a woman holding a glass of wine in a chair. For others, she was more than that. She was an incredible woman. She was passionate, resilient, and funny at the same time. She would be here right now. She would be with us right now in this audience. She would be in the video that you're about to see later. She was supporting us, following us, and using us. She was amazing. And this night, this initiative, resembles a lot of stuff that she fought for. Accessibility on all grounds, accessibility for everyone, accessibility for disabled artists. And I'd like for us to take a 1 minute silence together if we could, because though this is our night, but I think this is also our night. She believed in this stuff, and she fought for it. During my first year of training, the lack of diversity became clear to me. I wasn't just surprised by the lack of diversity of students, but the lack of diversity of lecturers and what was being taught. You hear about these things from people, but it's when you're in the building, you think, wow, you take it in really. You think, I'm actually the only black male in the year of 90 students. Like, this is it. This is happening. And you get this weird excitement to when you see others that look like you. Like, hey, yeah! Hey, be my friend! And you get even excited when you see the cleaners that look like you. It's weird. And so last year, when I first started actually, I hosted this event called DIY Central. It was about challenging and questioning my school on diversity and what they can do. Some of you may have attended. The night included testimonies from students about their experience and how they felt about being a minority in a place like Central. After the event, I had a really think of what happens next. How do I go about questioning my school? How do I ensure that my school is kept accountable on a regular basis and not a seasonal basis? Thank you. The easier and less stressful thing would have been to carry on with my training. To enjoy what I've got of it and stay quiet. And then I found out that would have been the selfish route, because I couldn't sit there and be silent and wait for some old white middle class man to talk about my experience for me and to talk about diversity and tell me how it is. I couldn't do that. And I couldn't sit there as well whilst having listened to all those testimonies about how students really feel in the building. I couldn't do nothing. I had to do something. So then this beauty of an idea came to me. Why not have an organisation that does that? Something that questions schools on a regular basis. Something that is able to lobby for change. Something that comes directly from the students. I did my research, spoke with a lot of organisations and met with artistic directors. And most importantly, I spoke with ex and current drama school students in London and outside of London, from small schools and big schools, part-time drama schools as well, and full-time drama schools. I had to know whether there was an appetite for this, whether this was actually an issue. Because I thought it was just an issue in my school. But if you look around, it's an issue happening all over the UK. And it then became clear to me that I wouldn't be able to do this alone. And that this would be more of a united student movement, one that represents every student, even those outside of London. That's why we're here. So this is us. We are the Diversity School Initiative. Fundamentally, we're a non-profit organisation set up to address diversity and underrepresentation in drama schools. We mainly represent issues coming from the students, but we're keen to involve practitioners and lecturers as we go along. The aim is to work with schools on issues regarding diversity within the student body, faculty and the curriculum, and bring about a more inclusive style of teaching. We are concerned about all parts of diversity, including ability, class, ethnicity, gender and LGBT+. We are asking for a higher and a greater definition of what representation means. That's us.
Hello, I'm Sanjay Lyle and I'm from the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. So our initiative has a smooth, clear and fair structure that enables us to keep everyone accountable, even ourselves. Our members hold us accountable and inform us of what is happening in their schools and what we can do better. Our board keeps us accountable and advises the initiative with knowledge, understanding and strategic thinking. Finally, we challenge and hold schools to account. So you're probably wondering what we stand for and what we aim to do and how. So, fret no more. As students, we recognise the lack of diversity in drama schools. Our main aim and ethos of the campaign is to combat the underrepresentation and diversity in our drama schools. What we aim to do and change in our initiative is how and where drama schools do their outreach and recruit their students and staff. What is being taught on school curriculum and who's teaching it. What is being encourage an equality of presence of BAME, Black, Asian and minority ethnic students and lecturers. Students and lecturers of working class backgrounds. Students and lecturers with a disability or learning differences in drama schools that reflects wider society. We want to help hold drama schools accountable for their decisions concerning diversity and to support students who report feeling underrepresented at drama schools. We believe that everyone should be given a fair and equal opportunity to learn, to train and to experiment and to fulfil their full potential regardless of gender, ability, ethnicity, social status, nationality, faith, sexuality or sexual orientation. The creative arts industry as we know it today does not currently reflect the diversity of the UK. As members of the Diversity School Initiative, we will challenge UK drama schools to develop a more inclusive curriculum. As well as this, we will support students affected by these issues by providing a mentorship scheme and a network. Working in all regions of the UK, the initiative will aim to make sure that drama school students' voices are being heard and change slowly comes. We also aim to work with senior members of drama schools so that even though this is the voice of students, we need to make sure that the big chiefs at the top are paying attention and taking action. As well as working with senior members, we aim to work with organisations to get our message out and across. The Diversity School Initiative aims to celebrate the arts industry and education, but showing the diversity that is there, but also supporting those who are needing support and making that change happen.
Hi, my name is Linda. I'll be talking about membership. So we as the Diversity School Initiative would like to invite students from all drama schools from around the country to join our membership scheme. It's a free scheme in which students sign up and they basically tell us what's happening in their drama schools, so we are held accountable to our ethos. So they can tell us what's working and what isn't working, because it's really important to us that we know that drama schools are representing these students. And they can tell us if they're being represented not just visually, but in inclusion. I think that's a really important thing, is inclusion. We need students to feel like they're represented in terms of the course content as well. So basically membership is they sign up and they can email us with questions or anything they want to know more about drama schools themselves when applying, but also how to handle things in drama schools in terms of representation. And we really want people to join from production courses. This is something that's really lacking in diversity. The performance courses do have a lot of diversity, but we need more. But production is really, really something that we need, as I said in the videos. And this leads us to our mentorship, sorry. Because as a member, you can sign up to have mentorship. And this is an opportunity for students to get advice and support from ex-drama students and from people in the industry. And having ex-drama students who have gone to these drama schools from diverse backgrounds can offer guidance, and it's just nice to have someone from a familiar background who has been through the system that you're going through. We would like to link these members with the mentors, and we would monitor that, making sure that they are being kept up and questions are being answered. And sometimes maybe we could just answer them ourselves, because we're really keen on, for example, monologues. I think that's something, especially me, when applying for drama schools and when going into the industry, no one at my university on staff represented me, no one looked like me, so I didn't know how I was going to write a monologue and So it's nice to have someone else who can help you with that. So if you are an ex-drama student and would like to mentor students and just help out simply like with emails or referring them, it would be really good if you would like to help them out and sign on and have a chat to us more about it.
Hi everybody, my name's James and I've been working in an advisory position for the Diversity School Initiative on the lead up to this launch, and I've also been looking at arranging the immediate plans following this evening. So leading on from what we said, we have plans concerning outreach and encouragement, to give it like a quotation name, and we've been aiming to get more diverse range of skilled applicants applying to leading drama schools. So we're aiming, and we want to go to schools, communities and youth theatres to speak with potential applicants about representation, and we want to encourage people to apply to drama schools if they think that representation based on misrepresents them or does not represent them enough. We want to start or continue the discourse concerning taking agency of your own identity, and we also wish to focus on non-drama school routes and recommend relevant stepping stones to gaining professional acting and theatre practice training. This programme will run from pre-audition time of the academic year until the final auditions, and we aim to be supporting applicants and their journey and helping them negotiate barriers where they are unsure of how their identity will manifest in a multiple round audition rubric.
Hi everyone, my name is Marmy. Okay, so you've heard everything about what we want to do and who we are, and all the amazing things that we have planned, but now we're asking for your help. We have started a crowdfunding page to raise £2,500. This money is going to help fund travel and resources for workshops, and also help in terms of marketing and spreading the word to as many people as possible. And it will also fund things at events like this and talks. We are a non-profit organisation, so all of the money raised will go towards funding this initiative. We believe it's really important that drama schools outside of London also have better representation. So we hope to engage drama schools across the UK. And in order to do this, we need your donations to reach as many people as possible. You can find our crowdfunding link on the slide behind you, and also we are selling badges and tote bags. The badges are £3 and the tote bags are £5, and all of the proceeds will go to this important cause.
Thank you. Well now, do you want to clap?
So the next part of the evening is the panel, then the question and answer. Just before we go into that, just a reminder we've got a hashtag diversity school. So we're not tweeting questions by it, it's just a hashtag for the event. Questions will actually ask people. And so I'm just going to introduce our board, Ola and Amashwan, who have the absolute pleasure of working with. He's the Associate Director of Royal Court and Creative Director of Euphoric Art and the excellent guy. Over to you, Ola.
Very much, James. That's a brilliant introduction. I'll try and be excellent. I'll do my best. Can you all hear me? Okay. Thank you. Obviously, that's one of those loaded questions, isn't it? Because if you can't hear me, you won't respond to it. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah. Fantastic, that's great. Thank you everyone for coming out this evening for this launch of this fantastic initiative, and I just have to say, the longer I spend in the presence of all of you and as part of this launch, the prouder I get. I think it's a fantastic initiative, and it makes my blood, I don't know, I was going to say boil, but that's exactly the wrong thing to say. It just makes it tingle with excitement and anticipation. So there's a real belief in the room, and where there's belief, there is always hope, and then there will be change and there will be movement. So that is brilliant. So give yourselves all a big round of applause. I just like to introduce the panel now, and then once I've done that, I think we're just going to go straight into Q&A, because it would be great to hear from you, all of you, what you've got to say and what you want to know from our esteemed panel. So, I'll say the names, you raise your hand and say hello, because I can't really see you and speaking to the microphone at the same time. So first up, I'd like to introduce Dr. Sylvan Baker from Central School of Speech and Drama. Sylvan is responsible for postdoctoral teaching and drama and applied theatre and education. Followed by that, I'd like to introduce Tracy Brabin.
Hi.
Who is a Labour Party politician.
Can I just say, newly elected Labour MP?
Follow that, next person. Who is Ed Kemp from RADA. And Ed is the director of RADA, not newly elected, I don't think. Followed by Mumba Dodwell, who you've met already. Officially representing the Diversity School Initiative. And then I'd like to introduce Jeff Coleman. And Jeff is head of acting at the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama. And last but by no means least, anybody who knows her, it is Jenny Seeley from Grey Eye Theatre. I'd like to simply go straight into Q&A, because I think it's going to be fascinating. Thank you for raising the house lights, and you can put your hands up. There are 2 roving microphones as well, so if you could wait until you got the microphone, and then introduce yourself, say your name, and then what your question is, and we'll start over here.
Do you want me to stand up? Yes. Hi guys, I'm Ronke. It's nice to see you. I've got a question for Ed Kemp as the director of the drama school that I graduated from. I am very aware that a lot of young people, especially people that live where I grew up, which obviously I'm in direct communication with, are terrified of how expensive it is to just audition for drama schools. And I know when I was auditioning, £50, even now, £50 is money, man. Like, even I think now it's going around up 80, 70. That's a big problem for a lot of, I don't know if I want to say working class family, under a certain amount of money family, to tell a parent, I want to go to drama school, and then to tell a parent, I'm going to need 80 quid, it's a write-off.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That's addressed to you, Ed, but other people might have a view on that as well. Can I just ask, can the house lights go up a bit higher as well, please? It's really difficult to see you. Thank you.
Yes, we're very aware of that. The exact figures are 45 quid before Christmas and 85 quid after Christmas. We did that because we had to try and get through 3,500 people in a short period of time, and we didn't have that price differential. 1,000 people applied in the last week before closing dates. However, we have increased the Conservatoire for Dance and Drama, which rather belongs to Bristol and Lambda, have a series of fee waivers, and to those rather added 100 of our own this year for people who can't afford that and simply do not pay at all therefore. We are seriously looking at that. The trouble is, to get through 3,500 people, to give every single individual an audition, is a very expensive process. So it has to be covered from the cost, and the RADA itself runs at a loss. So we are looking at how we can do that. We've opened up a number of regional audition places that we go to, because if you live in London, it's only 45 quid. If you live in Devon, you have to get to somewhere to audition, which is a train fare plus 45 quid. And so we have increased the number of places we go to regionally, and we've been increasing that further. So it is an issue. We are looking at it and we're trying to address it, but it is a problem of how we finance the process. If we're going to audition every single person, and 3,500 people apply, that doesn't come from nothing. That's provide at the moment, but if there are other models that were suggest out there, we could look at them, but it's not a cheap process. I don't know if Jeff wants to talk about it from the centre.
We actually, if an applicant can't afford it, which we reverse our answer. So any applicant from anywhere in the UK, if they can't afford it, they can do it from us. So we decided to commit that way to access.
Tracy, I don't know if the Labour Party has any views or thoughts on the whole basis of well, we know about fees, but certainly the cost of education.
Well, certainly the Labour Party had a cultural fund of £1 billion because we understand that actually the opportunities to move into the cultural industries start at school. You cut them out of the classroom, it narrows the field. Certainly working class kids get less chance to do it. And in fact, I met Jeff only a few months ago when I was working with Tom Watts, I was co-chairing a commission into working class opportunities in film, TV and theatre. And it was like a select committee, and we were determined to really investigate this. Now, there are obviously things that the Labour Party are committed to, which is bringing back the EMA, which I think is a real loss for young people when they want to go on to further study. Also, as I say, opportunities in school, and also opportunities further down the line. One of the biggest issues certainly, I came from a council flat in Yorkshire. I didn't know anybody, and my family had no money. So the biggest issue, I think, is not just starting out, and obviously drama schools have a huge role to play in enabling working class or diverse students to have opportunities to train, but it's also the leaky pipeline of how they sustain a career. It's about sustainability, not just about getting into drama school. It's about fighting with Equity, who I think their new manifesto for casting is worthy, and I think if it was followed, could make changes. It's also about how to ensure that people who have started well can continue, because even though they don't know the right people and they have no family money to rest on their laurels. So hopefully when we all come back and we're all settled, this commission will be relaunched. I'm hoping so anyway, because I think it's an area that we could work with this amazing organisation. I would really credit Stephen for this. I do think it's fantastic, and he does deserve it.
Thank you very much. Next question, please. Can I take it in the middle?
Hello, good afternoon. Good evening. It's not afternoon anymore. This is for anyone, so it's not directed to anyone in particular. So I'm aware of RADAs and student loans. Are there any more sort of fundings or helping out when it comes to sort of funding for tuition for drama school? What can we do? Because all I'm aware of is RADAs and student loans. So is there any more?
Any more funding available from anywhere? Who wants to say that?
Well, certainly at RADA, and I can speak from those directly, we have quite a significant bursary war chest built up by the generosity of a number of people over many years. Richard Attenborough, who, when he had finished getting RADA built, set out to give money to ensure students did it. Something like 75% of our students get some form of support, bursary, fee discount. And through the generosity of one or two big sponsors recently, we have been able to award full fee discounts and also some bursaries in terms of living expenses for particular students, particularly students who are doing a second degree. One of the things that happened in my time at RADA was that you used to get funding for 2 degrees. That was withdrawn. Historically, a great many of our most successful actors did a degree in something else first, and then went on to train for art school. particularly in terms of things that we'll talk about, in terms of diversity, a lot of people make the pact with their parents to go and do the real degree first and then go to drama school. And so one of the things we have found is there are a very large number of very successful applicants, particularly from VLE backgrounds, who have done the first degree and cannot afford to come because they get no funding. There's a lot of that additional money is going towards that. So every drama school will have its own bursary pot to do that. But essentially the expectation is you take out a loan or a RADA in terms of the way that the system works.
Yeah. Well, Central doesn't have too many bursaries in its portfolio. Alas, that's not the one to try, and we have a staffing constantly trying to gain bursaries access. So yeah, we're not quite in that same place. But I think that the difficulty of permission is sort of what is being discussed a little bit here in terms of it's very difficult, isn't it, to seek sort of family permission to do something which is one expensive to just interview for, audition for possibly, and then the sort of myths and legends of the unemployment that then might follow. You know, it's a very difficult story to tell anybody, I think, with money or without money. And so this sort of permission issue is something that I think Central is trying to address. And other drama schools too. I don't think it should be just a sort of rather central sort of Wimbledon match across the. So the whole sector is trying to address that aspect of permission and trying to get into communities and exploring not just London communities but wider national communities, exploring the reasons why we need to make plays, why we need to make drama, why we need to act, why we need to tell stories. And I think if we can sort of galvanise our understanding in that way, well, yeah, we need to, tonight is a story in itself, and it needs to be told. And so I think it's changing in a sense families and schools' idea of the permission that we must give young people to engage with theatre and film and TV.
Could I just add something to that? That my constituency is Batley and Spen, and I was elected after Joe Cox was murdered. And we've set up, with the director of Billy Elliot, the producer of Harry Potter, and the MD from Hamilton, we're going to have this most spectacular production of Les Mis in a mill in Batley in the summer for 100 young people. We've set up the Batley and Spen Youth Theatre, and the mission was absolutely more in common. So what we were doing was reaching across the communities. And anyway, the first auditions were terrible. Well, not terrible, they were amazing. But there were these white Range Rovers rocking up with leggy blondes getting out. I was just thinking, no, this is going to be a disaster. This is not what the whole point of this production was. So we went into schools, we worked really hard to get really good diversity across the whole range, backstage and on stage. And when I was bemoaning the difficulty that we had, my friend Afak, who's a political campaigner, said, the thing is, Tracy, the way that my community, his Kashmiri community, pronounces actor is doctor. And he said, it's the resistance from the families, and I absolutely agree with you that the education is also into families, to say that the opportunity for careers in this industry are so wide-ranging and widespread, and you can have an amazing life as a DOP or a boom operator or a clapper loader as well as an actor. There are so many opportunities for jobs. So it is about that sort of education as well from practitioners.
Jenny, I'd just like to bring you in on this question, just from a disability perspective and in terms of other sources of funding and the need for funding, and also that issue of permission and the family's attitude.
I'm going to have to go back a little bit before I unpick that. But first of all, I do what Rose did, and I just want to say thank you for having our soap up there, and thank you for that 1 minute silence. Because she was brilliant. And I remembered 18 years ago having done a few months of work at RADA with 5 different disabled artists and 5 RADA students and a lot of elastic. We did a reproduction of The Tempest. That you do. But then realising that back then the organisation wasn't quite ready to bring on a whole load of disabled people on the courses. So me being the belligerent me, I sat out our own course called The Missing Piece. And we had our first audition where we did not have to pay a penny, and we paid for travel, and we had all the access covered at St George's Hall in Borough. And I remember Sophie just wheeling in, Gobby, whoever she was, wheeling in, and then a whole host of other deaf and disabled new wannabe actors, and she stole the show. She really did. She was absolutely at the top of my list, and in a way remained at the top of my list for the last 18 years. She's been such an integral part of Greyhound. But the story that she has to tell is the same as the story that Nabil, who sat at Greyhound, has to tell. Is back then nobody would really think about having someone with her diverse physicality on stage. So if I could ask any of you who drama students, when you say, what does neutral mean? A drama teacher normally says, put 2 feet on my right, put 2 feet on the floor, you find your center, shoulders relaxed, regulate your breathing. And so when I was writing the model, the degree called for The Missing Piece, they said, no, but you have to put 2 feet on the floor. And I said, why not? My actors don't have feet. So how do they put them on the floor? They do different. They shuffle their houses. They find their central neutral on their bottoms. There's always a way of finding, of adapting, of being. And the most important thing is about, are they good at acting? And Sophie was a good actor, but I'm not necessarily sure drama school would have done her any good, because she would have felt so isolated being the only person. I was the only person in Middlesex, but I never said I was deaf. So I managed to fudge it somehow. I don't know how I did. So I think I'm coming from a different place. And just 2 things really. I'm completely on your question on but as a director, I never ever ask for a photograph. I don't ask for a photo. I ask for a paragraph about why, what and how. So it's that passion, or, I mean, for deaf people, they can say they're shiny, they couldn't have to see them. But for the most part, I want people in that room, and then together we look at the spirit of who they are. There's so much happens when you see that photograph. Do you know what I mean? And I hate the October unconscious bias. I hate it. I think it just excuses everything. Do you know what I mean? I'm really there. I think we should get rid of that. I've lost my first time.
That'll teach me to go asking questions. Let's take another question from the floor. Yes, over there, please. Thank you.
Hiya. So, as you said, the MP there, sorry, I forgot your name. That was an absolutely amazing initiative, actually going into the community and actually asking people to get involved. But to the heads of the drama schools there, are there any programs, or is there anything that really goes really into the community and works with people from low socioeconomic backgrounds or primary schools? Or because we all have this idea in our head that, okay, there's drama schools, we hear it from our teachers, we hear it from maybe actors that, yeah, you should go to drama school, but we think, what is drama school? We hear RADA, we hear Lambda, we hear Central, you know, they're all amazing, they're all ethereal, but we don't actually have anything that, or anyone who really comes down from there and speaks to us. So is there any initiative, or is there anything that's going to happen that can, the Diversity School Initiative launches amazing, but is there anything on your part that is actually going to really reach to us?
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask Sylvan if you take that first, because you are a doctor in applied theatre.
Yeah, I'm quite aware of these. So, I'm a lecturer at Central, and incidentally I'm a black lecturer at Central. The school, Central, runs a number of widening participation projects. They don't hit all the schools, and the money comes, some of the money comes from, is ring-fenced from the extra money, top-up money that came into student fees. And they are passionate about trying to find new trajectories into the school. Central, like RADA or RADA or Guildhall, they have relationships with a number of schools at the primary and secondary school level, also FE colleges across London for those schools, and further afield, central school relationships in Oldham and Leicester. And it's interesting, it's about what I think is the difference between diversity and inclusion. Diversity is kind of like, oh look, we're all a bit different, for whatever reasons, in whatever way. Whereas inclusion is, okay, there is a difference. What then do we need to do to make that difference not significant? And in some cases, it might be that the institutions, and in the cases of the widening participation project, the institutions go into the places, to the schools, to the communities, to the estates, and say, hi, did you know there was a thing called the conservatoire? Did you know that you're really good and you should come to the conservatoire? But it doesn't end there, because sometimes some drivers are about getting people from diverse backgrounds, marginalised backgrounds, excluded backgrounds, there's lots of different delineations, into the school, into university, into the conservatoire. That's great. But as we've already started to allude to, what that means is that you are taking a fish out of a certain kind of water and putting them into a different kind of universe. So I think, I disagree with the film to a certain extent. I don't think that diversity starts at the top. I think that diversity starts everywhere. But one of the things that we have to consider is how we change the consciousness of those people who are not thinking about diversity for whatever reasons. Yeah? Because that's the issue. It's not necessarily about skill or ability, it's about how we make a paradigm shift so that we don't automatically assume neutral needs to fit. We don't automatically assume that if you're going to be a performer or an actor, that there are only certain texts that you study. We don't automatically assume that just by increasing the number of people who are teaching, because where are these academics coming from to teach you if they're from those backgrounds? As I said, a colleague said, they're like ends teach. So it's a wider shift in thinking and awareness to set up initiatives so that there is more representation. I was around when Stephen was in his first year, like teaching. Yeah, and I can understand why it's an issue. And I'm around now. So how do we change an awareness, a consciousness, an understanding, a curiosity about who is being taught and who is teaching? And in terms of the teaching, how do we get the skills and talent that is out there and is demonstrably doing it in the field into the academy to do the teaching?
Thank you.
Could I add something? One of the biggest, most exciting things I think in London and is now going to Birmingham is Triforce and Monologue Slam, and those guys are really doing it in a new way. That they're putting people together that have come from different backgrounds that might not be able to afford to go to drama school, but are getting opportunities to try and put their talent out there. Obviously, it's not long-term training; it's not a 3-year degree. But just to say also, I think what's important, if you don't see it, you can't be it. And the real sadness for me is the lack of theatre and education around the country now because of the funding cuts. Schools can't afford it, and often with TIE you need many actors to do the workshops and so on, so companies don't feel that it's cost effective. So I do think, certainly it'd be something I would be pushing for if we had a cultural sort of agenda, that TIE comes back. Because if you can get TIE to be completely diverse in your companies, you're going into schools that may see with young people who have not been pre-programmed yet, they can get the opportunity to work with people, and as they grow up, it doesn't become so shocking that there are people of all, from all backgrounds actually doing the play. So I think, get people while they're young, and certainly after school clubs, I ran an under-11s filmmaking club for 5 years, where young girls who were 9 and 10 were writing, boys were writing, and girls were doing DOP. Often girls are excluded from those technical sides of filmmaking because it's the norm. understanding what's going on and having an open mind. They'll grow up into adults, I think, that are more open to that being, inclusivity being the norm.
I know there's a queue now. I know Jenny wants to come in, and Jeff, you want to come in, but I want to get Mumba come in because I know the diversity initiative talks about an outreach program as part of the initiative.
I think the thing is with the outreach, one thing I've noticed as someone who's done this, has auditioned and planned, when going to, it's fair enough to reach out, but when you go to drama schools and you see people who don't look like you, or this is my example. I went to an audition and I looked at this drama school and I looked at all the graduates who are graduating there. And I see 2 black females out of the class of 30. Those things are not inviting, I think it needs to go further up, because I was slightly put off going, oh my gosh, now I have to audition, I have to be like the best one looking like me. That's pressure to have at 18. That's a lot of pressure. And when you're trying to make it through and trying to find models which are already not inclusive, I think that there needs to be also things that's why we as the initiative are trying to, when we get to these outreach places, we're trying to offer people who look like them, who have been through it, and offer guidance for that, and also offer materials which are for them. So we can walk into audition and be proud and say, this is a character that is for me, rather than, I'm not sure if this person's for me, I'm going to try and convince this panel as well as trying to get into this dance school. So I think that's another from the outreach that we are trying to do to stop that from happening.
So if Jenny, can you make your point nice and quickly, and then I'll have a quick point from Jack.
Yes, bring back TIE.
Yeah.
That's where I cut my teeth.
Yeah.
Best thing ever. Used to run the girls' youth theatre, Melbourne Girls' School for 5 years when I was at the Humphrey and People's Theatre. Youth theatre. So I'm talking about youth theatre today. Before your time, there has been a National Association of Youth Theatre, run by my friend Jill Appleton, and the arts council cut it. And it's a shame, because part of our job, when I worked with women all over the country, educating youth theatre directors and leaders, saying, come on, you've got to be more diverse, you need that to stable people, started to bridge the gap between schools, theatres and youth theatres, and all of that's just gone. And it's vital, I think, we bring it back. And that's how young people get, well, they start. Yeah. But there's education, bring it back. It wasn't broken, it was money, wasn't it? But we've got to do that. You have a responsibility, massive.
Well, if I can just jump in relation in terms of the question. I think if any drama school here was to answer that question, we're all doing lots of stuff. There are lots of initiatives we're all doing in lots of different places. We all have relationships with different places. The trouble is, we are all small institutions all trying to do that, and it requires a relationship, because that infrastructure isn't there. So we talk about the legally play. Once upon a time, my colleagues who were rather back in the early 90s or whatever, you could go to a drama advisor. There were LEAs who had drama advisors, and the drama advisor would know the people in all of the schools in that area who were interested in drama. And so as a drama school, you could tap into that network. My sister used to be one of them, that's why I know this. That whole thing is gone. So it means you turn to a drama school, you think, well, who do we talk to? The schools will often send you, they're gifted and talented. That is often a very euphemism for middle class what? And you often want to say, actually, you also say, can you give us your ungifted and your untalented? Because those are the ones we want to work with. But you're reliant on trying to get into places. And the network is not there. So youth theatre, TIE, drama advisors, LEAs, all that stuff that actually really worked is what we need back to be able to do this really good work.
I just wanted to say, we're talking about outreach, but I think there's a very necessary institutional sort of in-reach that needs to happen. And by in-reach, I mean, we need to look at ourselves as well as we journeying to distant cities and different communities. There are communities in all of the 20 drama schools and the institutions that we are representing. And I have to say that, it's appeared to me, meeting with Stephen quite regularly over the last few months, something has become very apparent, which is that, accountability of change is a sort of management gift, a management blessing. but actually change is not happening in that area. Change is happening with the people who don't have management privilege, but they are students, they are visiting lecturers, they are guests to those institutions. It's the institutions themselves that need, in a sense, to be colonised by visitors as well, visitors of change. And really, I too would like to thank Stephen for sort of rewiring how I'm thinking about this. I would attend meetings year on year with these questions on the agenda. But agendas can be manipulated and massaged and sort of hatch-matched and dispatched very quickly to make everybody at the meeting feel very, very good. And the brilliant thing about Stephen is he just keeps coming back and knocking on my door. And the dialogue has been extraordinary because he doesn't want agendas, he wants action. And I suppose really, we can carry on talking about it, but what we need to do now is, it's not about awareness. I think we're all very aware in this room what needs to be done, so we now need to move into doing it, really. And Stephen has been an agency, certainly in my life, to encouraging me to have the sort of hope to change the way we're doing it. So thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
I'm an applied theatre practitioner and teacher, and one of the things about applied theatre is it normally works in environments that it hasn't laid out, and it works to strictures that it didn't lay out itself. And I realised that as a member of staff in a higher education institution, that one of the most interesting places to do some interventions and some practice was in the institution. So we are currently I'm doing research. And the research means that issues of diversity and inclusion are on the curriculum. There's a group of second-year students whose project now is about inclusion and diversity. And they're working with an FE college, and they're working in Central to create a piece of performance which looks at diversity and inclusion. So I chose to do that because it's a slightly insurgent activity. It means that there's a group of students thinking about this issue. It means that there's going to be a performance at the end of June where other students and other members of the school community will come and see what's going on. And the FE students who've been working with the Central students will all be there. So it's not about necessarily just thinking about what books are being taught, what theories are being exposed, what plays are being performed, but it's building inclusivity and diversity into the fabric of the school. One of the things that great scholar Sarah Ahmed talks about inclusion is about building it into the fabric of the community in which it's working. Because then once that's done, if it's ever done, it becomes the norm that we consider this to be an important issue. But half of the struggle is getting it to the point where it is in that place. So I think the initiatives have to start at root, at base. It's on the curriculum now. I'm a member of staff and I'm there. And by being there, my body speaks in a certain way. Sometimes I can control it, sometimes I can't. But what it means is, I can control my body, but what I mean is, what it says and how it speaks and where I am, whether I'm teaching about post-colonial theatre or whether I'm teaching about space and place, the fact that I'm there means that I have to engage with it. So I think it's about building your own initiatives. And part of those interventions are about conversations, because conversations can start reflection. Because if someone in a senior role does not deem this to be important, for whatever reason, it's difficult for them to engage with it. So it's about making them understand that it needs to be important.
Is what are we doing once these students get into drama school? What are we doing about combating racism and microaggression? Both coming from other students and teachers, what are we doing about it?
Jeff, you want to go first?
The sort of various initiatives that Central is trying to address, and it's uncomfortable, it's difficult, it needs to be addressed. So we're not, I think, shirking from looking at it, but we are for example, the canon, the sort of inheritance of plays that drama schools so typically have used over the decades, is now up for grabs. It's being questioned. Sometimes the stories that we have lent on for years and years in the drama school sector are not the stories that we necessarily need to be telling or should be telling through performance. And so one of the sort of dynamic things, one of the courses CBT has been exploring at Central is writing news stories, performing news stories, directing news stories, taking stories out, which in a sense, again, perhaps returns to my thoughts on giving permission. It means that people can find voice, people can find reason, people can find a sort of action within their own spirit and being, beyond inheriting 100 years of training, good and bad. So we're looking at the stories we're telling, we're looking at how we're telling them, we're looking at how we're recruiting to those stories, to those courses, we're looking at the staffing. We have an active community, as has been described by my colleague at the table. So I wouldn't be sitting here saying that we are absolutely without fault. That would be ridiculous. But I am saying that we are actively addressing the issues that are in this room this evening. I wonder if it would be possible for my colleague who's in the audience to describe some of those CBT initiatives, which I think would be very helpful to sort of put context. It's just literally beside you.
I'm CBT.
Hey there. I was after you, Cheryl, so... Cheryl, sorry. I'll just say something else, actually, before I respond to that, Jeff. I think one of the things that it's all right to bring people in, it's all right to change the canon, but actually, the very core of what we're teaching needs to be looked at. Most of the methodologies that are taught in drama schools are based on humanist ideologies about there is a neutral self that we can aspire to that is not attached to culture, not attached to background, not attached to anything. And in a way, we have to start addressing the very core of how we train actors, because that message is from the 1930s. We don't live in the 1930s anymore, so we have to start to strip away. In response to what you're saying, one of the things that we've been doing on CBT is we've now cut RP out of our first year training entirely. So we work from verbatim theatre, we're working into working accents around a wide range of people, so that we're learning, training actors in giving them skills, but not dictating who it is that they have to play. So the shift that's starting to happen is around giving actors skills but not telling them the theatre that they should be making. It was the other day seeing that god-awful article about Judi Dench saying, look back at Gielgud. Why should the people in this room be looking at Gielgud as an inspiration for their theatre making? Teachers in drama schools should not be saying, this is the theatre you should be making. They should be going, these are some skills. I have no idea what theatre you're going to make. Yeah? Take my skills, take the skills, not my skills, take the skills, take your identity, work with your identity, work with your passions, work with what you have to say, and go and make theatre. But I'm not going to, I have no idea what the theatre and people in this room, what theatre they want to make. And I should not be teaching from a place of, this is the theatre you should make. I have to find a way of teaching that offers skills in dialogue, that's also not about me going in as an expert, but goes in to say, look, let's work with these skills. How do these work? What do you want to take from this? What's useful, what's not useful? Now go and use those and use those for your own advantage. But that, even just doing the RP thing, you take a layer away and you realise how deeply culturally embedded the training is. You take a layer away and you go, oh, we'll just teach this. No, that's culturally embedded. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Underneath that, there's another layer, and another layer, and another layer. And you just start to strip away at it and go, oh my God, this is a mess. This is a massive amount of work. So it's small steps, one at a time. And we are, as I say, taking some steps, but there's still a lot further to go.
But I think one of the issues that we're not talking about is the experiences that some of these students have been through. And I think, obviously, for a student to receive that kind of treatment from a lecturer or teacher is absolutely reprehensible. For it to happen over and over again is beyond belief. And in contravention of the law. So something should be happening. And if it's happening in the institutions where I am, then I'd like to know about it. And I'd like to do something about it.
The interesting thing is the whole thing of drama school training, as we know, that towards your third year, everyone needs to, they're thinking they need to get an agent. And so people won't question tutors. It's inherent with drama school teaching. That's the way. You can't question because at the end of it, you're thinking that by the third year, I have to get an agent. That's the only way I can be successful. What we need to break down, this is a brilliant initiative, taking this into drama schools and stuff like that. But the thing that we need to break down is actually the establishment that goes beyond that. Because once you've done this through your diversity in drama school, once you go out into the big wide world, there is the thing where you will meet the real blush of who you are. That's the thing that needs to be broken down.
Say something. Can I just say that was an incredibly powerful testimony, and obviously you're supported by other women around you who've also experienced on different levels that sort of discrimination. In the workplace, it's absolutely, totally unacceptable. What I would suggest you do is you make a document of what has happened, the conversations you've had, collect that document, keep strong and keep calm, collect that document and then send it to whoever it is senior. If you don't get the response you want, go above them. And if you don't get that response, you will have a local MP. And I would say to you, if you were in my patch in Batley and Spen, I would be your champion because that is unacceptable. Because you're in a workplace and you've also paid for this training and you want the proper training. And our colleague is right. Out in the big wide world, nobody there is often, accountable, and things do get different and more difficult. But you're in a position where you're paying for this training and you don't want to be treated like that. So I would say, get it all down and go above the person that said this. Send an email, send it to yourself, make a record of it, but just keep calm. I would also say rage is great rocket fuel for creativity. So certainly lots of writers who have been hugely successful have written down their rage, and also it's great therapy when you feel an injustice. So also maybe keep a diary of this process, because depending how it pans out, it may be an opportunity later down the line for you to tell this story to help other people. So I would say get yourself organised, get it down and go.
Generally, as many of you probably know, equity, campaigns for people in the workplace professionally. We have the student membership scheme, but it's really important alongside our scheme that students are represented in their institution. So, they're represented by their student union or their affiliate, and that's exactly why we connected with Stephen and why Equity's hosted the first meetings of this initiative, and we really support it. There's a limit to what we can do in terms of representing students at the moment, but we do our best to support people in these circumstances. And exactly what Tracy was saying, we have absolutely massively high standards when we're representing professionals who are treated badly and discriminated against in the workplace, and we use the law and the fact that it's illegal. These are very fundamental things and behaviours that need to be challenged. How we do that, we try and we work collectively and we do our best within our remit. But my question was actually then to the institutions to say, how do you manage that in your institutions, that the ones that are here? Because we often see employers, we're pushing employers through our Play Fair campaign to say play fair on equality and diversity, on authentic casting, on inclusive casting, on incidental casting, reaching out to the widest talent pool possible so that we see many more diverse people reflected on stage and screen. But what we often find is that employers and bigger broadcasters, for instance, will have these top-level strategies, or they might have strategies on their website, but they're not making sure that their staff are behaving in a way that reflects those strategies. And as a accountant, I just wondered if you had any ideas around that, around how you make that happen in your institutions to ensure that staff are behaving according to the highest standards that you want to work to.
Okay. Ed, do you want to quickly respond to that?
Yeah, I now know why you wanted to talk to me on the way in, and I wanted to be talked to on the way out. I'm shocked and appalled by what you told me as somebody who is representing the school, which is in the same affiliation. And I sincerely hope that a story like that would not have happened at RADA. And that is partly why we got a lot of credit for apparently launching what is actually Steve's initiative on the Today programme this morning. The reason why Steve came to talk to me, I said we want to support this, is precisely to ensure that there is a network, which is what this event is proving, that can mean that people have somewhere to go to talk about that. Building those kinds of networks, because drama schools are small. Compared to the big university sector, none of us have many students. And so in a year of 28, even if you represent the population, you could be only 1 or 2 Asian people, or the only disabled person, whatever. And so I'm very, very aware that there needs to be networks where people can connect together. We're trying to build them within our own schools in terms of one of the things that was raised. We have now, I'm very, very aware in terms of RADA that although we are making some progress in terms of BAME acting students, we're not making much progress on the technical side, we've got more work to be done, but also, we could very well here, our staff still looks very white. And I can't change that easily overnight because there are contracts involved. And the conversations I've had with our BAME students, who I think we do have quite a good dialogue with, and quite a good way of them feeding back to us, did say, look, you know, the third year shows are essentially put together by me. I choose the material, I cast them. My director of acting, UC skill rep, is involved in that process. And a black student came to me a couple years ago and said, the issue is that if I, as a black student, I'm not the area of high casting, where do I go to? I go to 1 or 2 white people. If I'm a woman, at least I can go to Lucy, because I think there's something essentially going on. So we've begun to look at somewhere to look at. We've begun a BME students group. We begin to at least give some place where we can keep air those issues, find what those issues are, and discuss those issues. We do have lots of methods of student feedback, which we take very, very seriously. One of those recently, because we've been doing quite a lot of plays with black characters this year, we have a lot of black actors in our 3rd year, one of them said, actually, you know what? We're rubbish at dealing with black people's hair. Our technical students don't know how to do black people's hair. It was a really useful bit of feedback. It tells us, actually, we can do that better, it's really easy to do better, but also it helps our technical students. Our technical students are going to go into, hopefully, a diverse profession, they want lots of kinds of hair, so we need to get somebody in to help teach them. So we're looking at those methods of feedback and have that, trying to get spaces to work. We are within higher education. There are lots of checks and balances, which is why I'm also really want to know more about this case, because there should be other ways of dealing with this. Which, in terms of the question, that's what we rely on. Is that ultimately, you know, we are valued by King's College London. They sit above us. There are places where we go to, but we are really looking at all of our HR policies. And looking at how we work with students. We do a lot of student surveying, and we take that work very, very seriously. But we are making progress. I wouldn't say we're in any way perfect, and that's why for us, partnerships with things like this are a way of building into bigger questions. And here, what I love about Steve, as Jeff said, he asks difficult questions. And I kind of feel RADA is grown up enough to be asked difficult questions. I can't want to answer all of them, but I want to know what they're there for.
Okay, thank you. Right, okay. I am conscious of the sea of hands that has been raised, a forest of hands in front of me. We have only 5 minutes left. What I ask of you people with your hands in the air, if you can actually reframe whatever the question was, but you make a statement, because I would like to hear what it is you passionately want to get out there. We're not going to answer any questions, but I want to hear what it is that you need to say. If it remains a question, it remains a question, or turn it into a statement. Be conscious, we only have 5 minutes left. We will stop you, but it would be great to hear every single one of you with your hand in the air right now. Nobody cheats. Put your hands in. This woman here was supposed to ask a question about 15 minutes ago. I realised I'm going to start with you, and then let's see that microphone, the 2 microphones moving around. Yeah, okay, go.
Hi. Okay, this could actually be just a statement, but just first of all, thank you so much for people who've raised all these different questions. It's really, really resonated with me. My question or a statement is, so I'm an alumni of East 15. I was drama schools, there was a lot of speak and things I heard about people talking about we take on a certain number of people based on the ratio of women to men in the industry, or the ratio of Asians or black people in this industry. And this is the sort of feedback I was getting when I went to auditions. And my statement is, in relation to that, is as an actor, there's this kind of constant murmur of, am I going to get good work unless I go to America? And it's a constant, a lot of people I've spoken to are all preparing for America because that's the mecca of acting and diversity.
You've got 5 seconds.
And they basically talk about, they put it in their contracts. They put it in their contracts, and that has forced them to be diverse, and it has made it really, really creative. And I want to ask, and just put it out there, why can't we do that here?
Okay, so my statement, very quick, is about classical texts and an audition. So when I, years ago, auditioned for drama school, I couldn't find a text that was not Shakespeare, and only now the head of drama is talking about putting Peter Brook's Mahabharata into classical text, which for me, back then, if I could audition, I would have a piece that I could relate to. I just feel classical text, there's nothing out there massively for BAME people except for Shakespeare, and then I was told, go to Othello. It's not a casting. So I think if we are going forward, I think we need to look at classical texts and what is out there for everybody, because classical texts are not diverse, and it's a barrier, like financially, classical texts are a barrier to people.
Thank you. Behind you, I think. Where's the other microphone? Great, go for it. You've got, thank you.
Hi, I'm from Guildhall. My name is Brody, I'm an actor and a teacher, and also do a lot of outreach work with them, and I just think I can give one offer, which is that I've been going to loads and loads of schools, doing workshops around London. We're starting in London. And one of the big problems we have is that we're being sent to drama departments. And often the best actors do not do A-level drama. And I went into one amazing school in Clapton and walked in, and this incredible energy hit me. And I said, what, are you guys going to do the drama workshop? And they said, no, we're doing street dance. And I was like, I need to get into that room. And so, but the system through schools sends us to the wrong place. We need to go to football clubs, we need to go to youth groups, we need to get onto the street. An actor was cast for a film called Fish Tank, Off the Street. We've got to get people's passion and harness it. And I think that's a conversation we all need to have.
Great, thank you. Next microphone. Save applause if anyone was thinking of it, just so we'll hear all the voices and we can give ourselves a fantastic round of applause at the end. Who's got the next mic? You.
Hi, I'm Charlene. I'm here on behalf of Force Monkey training company. I am the co-director of the company. I'm also a working actress. And the thing that I really feel we have to agitate now, because we're talking so much and it's fantastic and we're answering questions, but the passion that the gentleman had here, the passion here, we have to look at everything, because I'm experiencing something similar to what you're experiencing, and I'm a working actress. Yeah. I go to my place of work, a training establishment, and I have to look at my counterparts coming up. I have a responsibility to kind of imbue them with that hope, but I have a responsibility to agitate as well, not in a disrespectful way to anyone. You can agitate in a positive way, but we have to ask questions. What are we teaching our actors? You're right, it's 1930s, it's not 1930
Brilliant,
now.
thank you. I'm going to cut you there because that's a fantastic point, well made. Everyone else who still wants to speak?
Everywhere, you have to shake everywhere.
Yeah, we do. I'm now going to reduce you down to 5 words. Can you reduce what it is you've got to say to just 5 words? So let's go. It's going to be a remarkable burst of energy coming up now. Keep the microphone moving around. What do you want to say?
Okay, first of all, I'm a performance lecturer. I will lecture for you for free. I will email you. If I email you, bloody well answer your emails, people.
They will, because we're going to network.
One more thing. If the responsibility, even though higher education, yes, I know we're talking about institutions that can help people, but the duty of pastoral care is with the adults.
Thank you.
It is
Right.
with the lecturers.
That's brilliant. Well done. You're a model to us all.
Hi everyone, I just want to say this. Acting is about telling the truth. That's all I have to
Thank
say.
you. That's great. Truth. Where's the other microphone gone?
My statement is very simple. We need more aid for regional theatre.
Yeah. Thank you. Great. Good. Next.
I just wanted to say it's so important to see people that look like you. And when I was back at the Brit School, I had Ronke come in, and she was just like, oh my gosh, she looks like me, like she's black like me. This is amazing. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have to apply for RADA, and a lot of other people were just like, let's go for it. So we need people look like us.
Yes, great. Good.
All right, before you cut me off, I just want to say, amazing story, and you've inspired me so much. I trained at National Youth Theatre last year. My head of acting actually came and outreached into the programme I was on, and I'm now currently a BA first student at Arts Ed, and more than half my fucking year are here tonight. And the mentality of your actors, clearly they are doing something right at Arts Ed, because I am very fucking blessed to feel empowered at my school. I am very blessed to feel like I can achieve what I want when I'm at Arts Ed.
Thank you. That's brilliant. One last word. Who's going to be down here? Thank you.
Thai, Scottish, British, I exist.
I do apologise to those of you who've still got your hands in the air, but I do want to make sure that there is time for networking post this panel discussion, this panel event, which has run over by 15 minutes, which means I'll never be asked to chair anything again in my life. That's appalling behaviour. We need a photo for Twitter has been requested. While that is being set up, I just need to say, it seems to me, in summing up, that reaching in is as important as reaching out. And I think that includes reaching into yourself and standing up, taking responsibility. We are all blessed. We all have a myriad of talents. You asked the question, where does diversity begin? At the very top of this evening. And the answer is, it started a million years ago. It started with the birth of humankind. We are a diverse species. It just happens naturally. And all we have to do is accept it, embrace it, and get on with it. Take responsibility for that and make it happen. The other thing is, because I'm so old school, I remember a thing called unions. I remember a thing called organised and getting together and making things happen. Because this is about power and it's about abuse. And the only way to fight abuse and power is to come together and be stronger than that abuse and power. To constantly speak out, to constantly question it, constantly challenge it, and turn it over where it needs to be turned over. Thank you all so much for your patience. Thank you for this panel, the honesty, the truth that has been represented at this panel. And it would be an outrage if I didn't leave the last word to Steve Kavuma. Here he is.
I cannot be a revolution everywhere I go. A young person said those words to me whilst I was trying to persuade them to apply for a particular drama school. I looked at her and I could see the tiredness in her eyes. I could see the frustration, the pain, the anger. I could see all of that. And then I stopped persuading her because I understood. There's so many people to thank for today. I'd like to thank the panel here, and I'd like to thank Ola as well, who's chaired this fantastic panel today. I'd also like to thank people like Ed, Lucy, Helen, Kate, Julie, Naomi, and everyone else from the RADA team. A lot of people ask why RADA, why here? Well, it seemed fitting enough to have it here. With all the work RADA have been doing, and the nearest station is accessible, and also this is where I'm being invited. But in all seriousness, it was right to start here. RADA have been doing a tremendous job when it comes to diversity, and when I first spoke with Ed properly, there was pure honesty in the room about what needs changing and how to move forward. And they've been very, very supportive of us and this whole thing. You know, it hasn't been about hiring a space and putting on an event. It really has been a collaboration. So thank you, Ed, thank you, RADA. I'd also like to thank our board who helped us get to this stage and get to the other stages, which I'll mention later. Their advice and support is much appreciated. I'd also like to thank the team, James, Mumba, Mami and Sanjay, who have been on this journey from the beginning and have worked tirelessly to make this night a reality. And I really mean this, or else I wouldn't be saying this. But today wouldn't have been possible without those people. And this initiative wouldn't have been possible without those people. So thank you so much. Also to you, thank you for coming. Thank you for following us. Thank you for being here. I would be making the greatest assumption in assuming that you all know who I am. You don't, you know. I'm a student. I write plays, I direct them, sometimes I produce stuff. And I'm a current student at Central. All those titles, but it's the last one that's important to me, because I always find myself learning, and I actually enjoy that. There's a pleasure in doing so. I was born in Uganda and raised in Wales. That was fun. My first audition was auditioning for this West End Youth Theatre. I remember thinking, I'm never going to get this. I was surrounded by posh little white kids with parents who were prepared to pay the full amount in a heartbeat. I didn't fit in, you know, and I didn't get it, but I also didn't want to. I knew that I did fit in, and actually that I deserved better, much better. By chance, I happened to stumble into this theatre company called Haringey Shed. It had, and still has, this no audition policy, and this warm community vibe. I remember walking into the room and thinking, this is my fucking home. I felt like I belonged. There was a place for me and people who wanted to nurture my talent. There was something about their slogan, everyone has a part to play. Something about that word, everyone, that just clicked with me. Now, about 2 months ago, someone out of nowhere said, since you've come to Central, you've made diversity your mission. Why is that? This was quite bizarre. Bizarre because it wasn't a question. It didn't seem like something. It wasn't a question. It seemed like something they had planned for a very long time. Like they were really thinking about what they were going to say and how they were going to say it. It was also quite bizarre because at no point were we even talking about diversity. Plus, I didn't know who this person was. Like we've never met before. But there we are, and they're introducing themselves without question. I paused. It was quite a long pause because I was thinking about what they were asking, why they were asking it, and for who. I gave a meaningless answer and said something like, education is for everyone. But I went home that day and I really thought about that question, because although it was random, it was quite a valid question. And I had to find a real answer, not for their sake, but for mine. And I guess for me, the world has somehow been exclusive. Like it's rare that I walk in a room and feel included, whether that's in school, in theatre, or just in life. And I guess it's that feeling of knowing what it's like to be excluded, and not wanting anyone else to feel it. But I know that far too many people like Ikra feel it. That's why I care. That's why this matters to me. Now for some reason, some weird reason, diversity has become this overused word. You know, people throw it around the place, and most of the time, the people using it don't even know what it means anymore. Sadly, this word has lost meaning. And then we seem to be offered some sort of low-grade definition of the word, but in reality, what this word means is inclusion and representation at every level. That's what diversity is all about. It's about being included and being represented. So unfortunately, that inclusion and representation is not there at every level of our institution. That's why we're here, to represent those who are underrepresented and to include those who are excluded in our training. This initiative is about a higher and a greater definition of representation in the student body, in the faculty and in the curriculum. This initiative is far more than making notes about the issue. It does something greater than that. It offers a service, a solution to defeat the issue. Whether that's through our mentoring scheme or our outreach projects, this initiative shouldn't exist. But yet we find ourselves existing because the current climate allows us to exist. Because we are needed. There's a need for this. So what do we want to do? Well, we want to change how and where drama schools do the outreach, because we believe and know that schools are not reaching out to enough communities. And actually, they all seem to be going out to the same place. I went to a meeting, I was privileged enough to go to a meeting full of all the drama schools in London. And it was part of the outreach team. And I realised that all these schools go to the same places. Where are they not going? Who are they not seeing? You know, that's important. We also want to change what is being taught and who is teaching them. We know from research that students do better if someone teaching them is from a similar background or share a commonality. We also know that students do better if the curriculum represents them. We want to encourage an equality of presence of students and lecturers in primary schools that reflects the wider society. Presence is a key word. Let's not forget, visibility is ableist language, but also what visibility means is that schools start to tick boxes, and actually, it's much more than that. I want to feel like I'm there even when I'm not there. How will we do this? Well, the team will meet with senior members of primary schools on a regular basis to discuss matters of diversity and what we can do together to achieve better representation. We've already started a dialogue with all the leading drama schools in London, and we're setting up a student representative system where students can get more involved in our work, but also we have a direct link to schools. We work with existing organisations with the aim of sharing knowledge and experience. We'll monitor and publish information related to diversity at drama schools in order to make this research more accessible, more clearer. And we'll document our interactions with drama schools and publish our challenges and achievements, because we believe it's only right and fair for you to see where we are and what sort of progress we've made, and if we haven't, you need to know why. We will celebrate drama schools' best practice and by our actions hold those who hold practice to account. We will use our outreach and encouragement project to deliver introduction to drama school workshops in higher education institutions. We've already started doing that with workshops. We delivered a workshop there, and we found out that actually one person in that workshop thought about going to drama school. You know, we'll use our mentoring scheme to make sure that drama schools, the drama school students get the best out of their training. Look, as I always speak about this stuff, I'm always asked by friends and close ones whether I believe in the idea of change or not, and if change is going to come someday soon. My reply is I too speak of this change. But my kind of change is different, not the kind of change maybe Ed or Jeff may offer or other institutions that offer. My kind of change is not on the surface, but in the roots, deep in the roots. You can't simply put black actors on stage anymore and think you've sorted the issue. And you can go home and pat yourselves on the back, but that's not what we're talking about here. You know, we're talking about accessibility on all grounds and for everyone. This change is about the curriculum, it's about who's teaching and what's being taught. This change is about who gets to know these schools and their courses, who gets in and who doesn't. All of this needs changing. You know, I speak of this change because I believe in it, because I know it's not impossible, because I know that if we are to achieve it, we must demand it. That's why I believe in this change. And I'm always being reminded by my oppressors that change takes time.
No, hey!
And I'm always reminded by my oppressors that change takes time. Where was I? And I'm always reminded by my oppressors that change takes time. There seems to be more emphasis on change than anything else. But please do not be fooled. What we're talking about can happen in the next year or 2 years. For example, yes, we can't fire all the white, able, middle-class lecturers. But we can change the sort of visiting lecturers that come in. We can change the style and approach to teaching. We can change what kind of productions our schools program. We can change where our schools do their outreach. It's not impossible. It's by far too possible. It's there. We need to grab it. My message to current primary school students and university students, graduates and to our followers is, for so long, we've been told when to have this conversation. We've been told how to have this conversation. And we've been told when to have this conversation. Frankly, I think enough is enough. Join us. Join our free membership. Become part of the conversation. Let's stand together and demand what we've been denied for so long. You know, last week in the general election proved what we can do if we come together. If we believe in ourselves. It proved the power we have as young people. Let's stop waiting for the middle-class white man to deliver our change. Let's do the job ourselves and do it well. Now, I know we've started something, and yes, this is a great step, but we haven't achieved anything. let's not forget. Do not think today is enough. Do not get comfortable. We are not done yet. We have a lot of work to do, and we have to mobilize and mobilize strong, because this is not going to be easy, but it is not impossible if we work together. My message to those who are worried and undecided, for those who think it's not their place to say, they always say, I'm not getting involved in that because I'm not black. I can only repeat the words of Martin Luther King here. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and the cruelty by the bad people, but the silence of that by the good people. Yes. When we fail to speak, to question, to challenge, we give them approval to carry on. And finally, my message to drama schools is, we want to work with you. We want a collaboration, but we will challenge you at every step. We will hold you accountable for your decisions. And let me make myself clear if I fail to do so. We will not entertain or be entertained by the games of this system. I am tired of the countless conversations and the countless events that we've had about the issue. Sitting at the table doesn't make us diners anymore. We must be eating what's on the table now. So, talking about the issue isn't good enough. Let's start to do something about the issue. Let's build and pave the way for an industry that is representative of our society. That question at the beginning, where does diversity start? It starts in our drama schools. And if it's not reaching our drama schools, then it has no hope of reaching the industry. Let's work together on this. Imagine what we can achieve if we work together. And remember, because I want you to remember this isn't a black or Asian or white issue. Stop treating us such. This is about everyone who's been included in our training, all of those who've been left out and are still left out. You know, this is it. This is our chance. Because if this doesn't work, then I don't know how long we can carry on being a revolution. Thank you. Follow us on Twitter, get the